Why are you still waiting for the right moment, the right mood, the right support, the right sign, when deep down you already know that time is moving, whether you move or not, that life is passing, whether you are ready or not, and that every day you stay the same is a silent decision to remain where you are? Why do you wake up with dreams in your heart, but doubt in your mind, with potential in your hands, but hesitation in your actions, knowing you were meant for more, yet living as if you were meant to settle? Why do you listen to the voice that tells you it's too late, too hard, too risky, when that voice has never built anything in your life? It has only protected your comfort and stolen your future. Why do you keep giving your power to fear, to opinions, to past failures, when the truth is you are still here, still breathing, still capable of changing everything starting today? Why are you afraid of taking full responsibility, when responsibility is not a burden, but the key to freedom, the moment you stop blaming and start building? Why do you doubt your strength when you have survived everything that tried to break you, when every scar you carry is proof that you can endure more than you think? Why not decide right now that this is the moment you stop wasting time, stop negotiating with excuses, stop living half a life, and start becoming who you were always meant to be? Because the life you want is not waiting for you to feel ready, it is waiting for you to be brave enough to begin. There comes a moment in every life when the excuses run out, when the waiting gets exhausting, and when the quiet truth finally hits you hard enough that you can no longer ignore it. And that moment is the realization that no one is coming to save you. No perfect timing is arriving. No magical push is on the way, and no external force will suddenly transform your life unless you decide to take full responsibility for it yourself. Taking responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything that went wrong. It is about reclaiming your power over everything that comes next. Because the instant you accept that your future is shaped by your choices, your habits, and your discipline, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the author of your own life. Most people spend years giving their power away, blaming their past, their parents, their luck, their environment, or the opinions of others. But blame is comfortable and responsibility is heavy, and that is exactly why responsibility is the doorway to growth. When you stop waiting for motivation and start acting from commitment, something shifts inside you. Because commitment does not ask how you feel, it asks who you choose to be. Responsibility means waking up and deciding that even if you are tired, even if you are scared, even if you feel behind, you will still show up and do the work that moves you forward. Because progress is not built on perfect days, it is built on disciplined ones. The world does not reward intentions, it rewards execution. And when you fully own your life, you stop negotiating with excuses and start producing results. You begin to understand that every wasted hour is a silent decision against your future, and every small effort is a vote for the person you are becoming. Taking responsibility means looking in the mirror and saying, "This is on me," not in a way that breaks you down, but in a way that builds you up, because if it is on you, then it is also within your control. It means realizing that your mindset is your responsibility. Your focus is your responsibility. Your effort is your responsibility. And once you accept that, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You stop waiting for conditions to improve and you become the one who improves the conditions. You stop asking why life is hard and start asking how you can become stronger. Responsibility gives you clarity, because instead of being scattered by complaints and distractions, your energy becomes directed toward action. You begin to understand that discipline is not something you do when life is easy. It is something you rely on when life is hard. You start choosing long-term respect over short-term comfort, because you know that comfort today can cost you confidence tomorrow. And yes, there will be days when responsibility feels heavy, when carrying your own weight feels exhausting. But that weight is the same weight that builds your strength. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you reinforce the belief that you can be trusted by yourself, and self-trust is the foundation of real confidence. When you take responsibility, you stop expecting others to understand your journey, you stop needing validation to move forward, and you stop giving power to circumstances you cannot control. You focus on what you can control: your actions, your reactions, and your consistency, and that focus changes everything. Responsibility does not mean you will never fail. It means that when you fail, you will learn, adjust, and get up again without wasting time on self-pity. It means understanding that your past does not define you, but your response to it does. When you truly take responsibility, you stop asking for easier roads and start building stronger legs. Because deep down, why? You realize that becoming better is more important than feeling comfortable. This mindset is what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. Not because they had fewer problems, but because they refuse to let problems decide their identity. Taking full responsibility is the moment you stop living on pause and start living on purpose. And once you make that decision, once you commit to owning your life fully, there is no limit to how far you can go, because a person who takes responsibility for their life can be challenged, but they cannot be controlled. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction, as punishment, as something forced upon you when life becomes serious. But real discipline is none of those things. Real discipline is self-respect in action. It is the daily proof that you value your future more than your comfort, and that understanding changes everything. When you are disciplined, you are not depriving yourself. You are protecting yourself from regret, because every undisciplined decision feels good for a moment, but costs you confidence in the long run. Discipline is what remains when motivation fades, when emotions fluctuate, when excuses sound reasonable, and that is why discipline is the foundation of any meaningful transformation. People who lack discipline often believe they lack talent or luck, but the truth is far simpler and far harder. They have not learned to keep promises to themselves, and self-trust cannot grow where promises are constantly broken. Every time you say you will do something and you do not follow through, you weaken your belief in yourself, and every time you show up, even when it is uncomfortable, you strengthen it. Discipline is built in the small moments, in the early mornings when the bed feels warmer than the dream, in the late nights when quitting feels justified, in the choices no one applauds but your foe, sure will remember. It is not dramatic, it is not glamorous, and it rarely feels exciting. But it is powerful because it compounds silently. Discipline teaches you to separate feelings from actions, to move forward even when your mind tries to negotiate an easier path, and that ability alone puts you ahead of most people. There are no shortcuts to a strong life, because shortcuts rob you of the resilience required to sustain success. And every time you look for an easy way out, you delay the person you are capable of becoming. Discipline is the skill of choosing what matters most over what feels best right now, and that skill must be trained daily. Excuses are the natural enemy of discipline, because excuses give temporary relief but permanent stagnation, and if you allow even small excuses to survive, they grow into habits that quietly sabotage your progress. Eliminating excuses does not mean being harsh or unrealistic with yourself. It means being honest. It means recognizing when you are rationalizing comfort instead of committing to growth. Hard work is not about suffering endlessly. It is about focused effort applied consistently in the direction of your goals. And discipline ensures that effort continues even when results are slow. Many people quit not because the work is too hard, but because they expected results without patience. And discipline teaches patience by reminding you that anything meaningful takes time. When you embrace discipline, you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating momentum, because action creates clarity, not the other way around. You begin to understand that your daily routine is shaping your destiny far more than your occasional bursts of motivation. Discipline turns ordinary days into building blocks of an extraordinary life, and it does so quietly, without asking for recognition. There will be moments when discipline feels lonely, when others are relaxing while you are working, when others are distracting themselves while you are focused. And in those moments, you must remember that discipline is not about competing with others. It is about honoring your own potential. The person you want to become is watching the choices you make today. And discipline is how you show that future version of yourself respect. It gives you structure when life feels chaotic, direction when you feel lost, and strength when you feel weak. Discipline does not guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees progress, and progress builds confidence. Over time, discipline transforms from something you force into something you rely on, because it becomes part of your identity. You no longer ask if you feel like doing the work, you ask what needs to be done, and that shift is where real power begins. When you live with discipline, you are no longer controlled by moods, opinions, or circumstances. You are guided by values, purpose, and commitment, and that is why discipline is not punishment. It is freedom earned through consistency and self-respect. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever possess, yet for most people it is left untrained, unfocused, and constantly under attack. And that is why learning to train your mind and feed your soul is not optional, it is survival. Every single day your mind is being programmed, whether you are aware of it or not, by the thoughts you repeat, the voices you listen to, the content you consume, and the conversations you allow to live inside your head. If you do not consciously choose what goes in, the world will choose for you, and the world is not gentle with distracted, uncertain minds. Training your mind begins with awareness, with recognizing that not every thought deserves your belief, and not every emotion deserves control over your actions. A strong mind does not eliminate doubt, it learns how to move forward despite it. And that strength is built through repetition, through intentionally replacing weakness with discipline, fear with action, and confusion with focus. Feeding your soul means giving yourself reasons to keep going when things get heavy. It means connecting your daily effort to a deeper purpose that goes beyond comfort and approval. When your soul is fed, your actions gain meaning, and when your actions have meaning, endurance becomes possible. Many people feel tired not because they are doing too much, but because they are doing too little of what actually matters to them. When your life lacks purpose, even rest feels exhausting. But when you know why you are pushing, even struggle feels worthwhile. Training your mind also means learning how to speak to yourself, because the voice inside your head is either your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. If you constantly tell yourself you are behind, not enough, or incapable, your mind will look for evidence to prove you right. But if you choose to speak belief, strength, and possibility, your mind will adapt to that standard. This is not pretending everything is easy. It is choosing a narrative that empowers action instead of paralysis. Feeding your soul requires discipline as well, because growth does not come from endless entertainment, negativity, or comparison. It comes from intentional input that challenges you, grounds you, and reminds you of who you are becoming. You must protect your inner world the same way you protect your physical health, because what you allow mentally determines how you show up physically. When your mind is trained, you stop reacting to everything around you and start responding with control. You become less shaken by criticism, less distracted by noise, and less dependent on validation, because your confidence is no longer borrowed from others. It is built internally. A trained mind understands that emotions are temporary, effort is permanent, and progress is earned through consistency, not intensity. Feeding your soul also means allowing yourself moments of stillness, reflection, and gratitude, because growth without reflection leads to burnout, and ambition without gratitude leads to emptiness. You need moments where you acknowledge how far you have come, not to become comfortable, but to become grounded. When your soul is nourished, you do not quit at the first sign of resistance, because you are not running on external motivation, you are running on internal conviction. The mind grows stronger with challenge, just like the body, and every time you push through mental resistance, you expand your capacity for resilience. Training your mind teaches you to sit with discomfort without escaping it, to stay present when quitting feels tempting, and to choose discipline over impulse. Feeding your soul reminds you that you are more than your current results, more than your setbacks, and more than your fears. It reminds you that your worth is not measured by speed, but by direction. When your mind is sharp and your soul is full, you become difficult to stop, because setbacks no longer define you, negativity no longer controls you, and fatigue no longer decides your future. You move forward with clarity, intention, and quiet strength, knowing that every day you invest in your inner world is shaping the life you are building on the outside. Failure is not the moment you fall. It is the moment you decide to stay down. And understanding that truth changes the way you see every setback, every mistake, and every painful chapter in your life. Getting up again is not about pretending the fall did not hurt. It is about refusing to let that pain have the final word, because life does not reward those who avoid failure. It rewards those who learn how to rise from it. Every person who has ever built something meaningful has been knocked down in ways that tested their belief, their patience, and their identity. And what separated them from the ones who stayed stuck was not talent or luck. It was the decision to stand back up with intention. Failure has a way of stripping away illusions, of revealing where your discipline is weak, where your focus has drifted, and where your commitment needs to deepen. And if you are willing to listen, it becomes one of your greatest teachers. When you fail, you are given a choice. You can either let the experience shrink you, or you can let it sharpen you. And that choice is where resilience is born. Getting up again means you do not romanticize your struggle, but you also do not run from it. You face it with honesty and courage, knowing that growth does not come from comfort, but from confrontation. There will be moments when the weight of disappointment makes you question yourself, when your confidence feels fragile and your progress feels invisible. And in those moments, you must remember that your worth is not erased by one loss, and your future is not canceled by one mistake. Resilience is built by repetition, by the act of standing up again and again until standing becomes instinct. And every time you rise, you teach your mind that quitting is not an option you entertain. Getting up again also means letting go of shame, because shame keeps you trapped in the past while growth demands forward movement. You cannot change what has already happened, but you can decide what happens next. And that decision is where your power lives. Failure often feels personal, but it is not a verdict on who you are. It is feedback on what needs to improve. And when you shift your perspective from judgment to learning, failure loses its grip over you. Getting up again requires humility, because it asks you to admit that something did not work, and courage, because it asks you to try again anyway. It requires patience, because progress after failure is rarely immediate, and discipline, because emotions alone will not carry you through the rebuilding process. There will be days when the memory of failure whispers that you are not capable, that you should not risk feeling that pain again, and those are the days when resilience matters most. On those days, getting up again is not a dramatic comeback. It is a quiet decision to keep going, to take one more step, to do one more small action that moves you forward. Over time, those small acts of persistence rebuild your confidence, not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you prove to yourself that you are stronger than the urge to quit. Resilience is not about being unbreakable. It is about being adaptable, about bending without losing your direction. When you get up again after failure, you gain wisdom that success alone could never teach you, because you learn how to navigate discomfort, how to regulate your emotions, and how to stay focused when results are delayed. Each time you rise, you become less afraid of falling, not because falling stops hurting, but because you trust yourself to recover. This trust changes the way you approach challenges, because you no longer avoid difficulty. You engage with it knowing that even if you fail, you will survive and grow. Getting up again is the act of reclaiming your agency, of telling life that it does not get to decide your ending. And when you commit to that mindset, failure loses its power to define you and becomes simply another step in the process of becoming who you are meant to be. At some point in your journey, you must make a decision that will change everything. A decision to stop allowing other people's opinions to control your direction, your confidence, and your future. Because the fastest way to lose yourself is to live your life trying to satisfy voices that do not carry your consequences. From the moment you decide to grow, to aim higher, to live with purpose, criticism will appear, not because you are doing something wrong, but because you are doing something uncommon. People will talk, judge, doubt, and project their own fears onto your path. And if you are not mentally prepared, their words will slowly shape your actions, your energy, and your belief. Becoming immune to opinions does not mean you become arrogant or closed off. It means you become grounded. It means you learn the difference between constructive truth and destructive noise. Not every opinion deserves your attention, and not every voice deserves access to your mind, because your mind is where your future is being built. The truth is simple, but uncomfortable. Most people speak from their limitations, not your potential. And when you let their limits define you, you shrink to fit their comfort. People who criticize discipline often fear it. People who mock ambition often abandon their own. And people who doubt your dreams are often protecting themselves from facing why they stopped believing in theirs. When you internalize this, criticism loses its emotional charge, because you realize it is rarely about you. Mental immunity is built by knowing who you are and where you are going, because clarity creates confidence, and confidence makes opinions irrelevant. When your purpose is strong, distractions become weak, and when your self-belief is rooted internally, external validation becomes optional. You must understand that opinions are cheap, they cost nothing to give, and mean nothing if they are not backed by experience, effort, or integrity. The people who truly matter will challenge you to grow, not shame you into shrinking, and learning to separate guidance from negativity is a skill that protects your progress. Becoming immune to opinions also requires courage, because it means you will sometimes stand alone, misunderstood, moving in silence while others talk, and that loneliness can test your resolve. But solitude on the path of growth is far better than companionship on the road to regret. When you stop seeking approval, you reclaim energy that was wasted on explaining yourself, defending your choices, and proving your worth. And that energy can now be invested into execution. You stop performing and start building. You stop reacting and start responding with intention. Mental immunity allows you to hear criticism without collapsing and praise without becoming dependent, because your identity is no longer fragile. You know that consistency will speak louder than words, and results will eventually silence doubt. This mindset does not develop overnight. It is trained through repetition, through choosing to stay focused even when misunderstood, through continuing to work even when support disappears. Every time you keep going without applause, you strengthen your independence. Every time you refuse to change your direction because of noise, you reinforce self-trust. Life becomes lighter when you stop carrying other people's expectations, because expectations you did not choose are weights you do not need. When you become immune to opinions, you free yourself to take risks, to fail, to learn, and to grow without fear of judgment, and that freedom accelerates progress. You realize that being judged is not dangerous, but living with regret is. At the end of the day, the only opinion that will matter is the one you have of yourself when you look back at the effort you gave to your life. Becoming mentally immune is not about ignoring the world. It is about choosing yourself, choosing your values, choosing your future repeatedly, even when it is uncomfortable, because a person who cannot be controlled by opinions cannot be stopped from becoming who they are meant to be. Time is the one resource you will never be able to recover, replace, or negotiate with. And once you truly understand that, the way you live each day begins to change. Money can be earned again, opportunities can return, even confidence can be rebuilt, but a wasted day is gone forever. And that truth is not meant to scare you, it is meant to wake you up. Daily improvement is not about massive breakthroughs or dramatic transformations. It is about respecting time enough to use it with intention, because your future is not created by what you plan once, it is created by what you practice every single day. Most people overestimate what they can do in a short period and underestimate what consistent effort can do over a long one. And that misunderstanding is why so many remain stuck, waiting for motivation instead of building momentum. When you commit to getting better each day, even in small ways, you stop chasing perfection and start building progress, and progress is what creates confidence. Every day becomes an opportunity to move one step closer to the person you want to become. And those steps add up, whether you notice them or not. Daily improvement requires honesty, because it asks you to confront where you are without judgment and where you want to go without fear. It asks you to look at your habits and decide which ones are serving you and which ones are quietly stealing your time. Improvement is rarely comfortable because comfort thrives on repetition and growth demands change. But discomfort is a small price to pay for a lie. Faye lived with purpose. When you understand that life is precious, you stop postponing the things that matter, you stop waiting for perfect conditions, and you stop telling yourself you will start tomorrow, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. You begin to treat your time with respect, protecting it from distractions, negativity, and meaningless routines that drain your energy without giving anything back. Daily improvement also teaches patience, because meaningful change does not announce itself loudly. It happens quietly, in the consistency of showing up even when results are invisible. There will be days when progress feels slow and effort feels unrewarded, and on those days you must remember that growth is happening beneath the surface, shaping your discipline, your resilience, and your character. Improvement is not just about doing more, it is about doing better, refining your focus, sharpening your skills, and aligning your actions with your values. When you improve daily, you begin to trust the process instead of obsessing over the outcome. And that trust reduces anxiety and increases clarity. You stop rushing and start building because you understand that a strong foundation takes time. Life becomes less overwhelming when you break it down into daily commitments, into small promises you can keep today instead of distant goals you keep postponing. Each day you improve, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of change, and that belief fuels further action. Daily improvement is also an act of gratitude because it means you value the gift of being alive enough to not waste it. You honor your potential by using your time with purpose instead of letting it slip away unnoticed. Over time, consistency creates identity, and you no longer see improvement as something you do, but as who you are. You become someone who respects time, who values effort, and who understands that greatness is not a moment, it is a habit. When you look back, after months or years of daily improvement, the results will feel almost inevitable, not because you were lucky, but because you were faithful to the process. Understanding that life is precious and time is limited does not make life heavier, it makes it more meaningful, because it pushes you to live intentionally, to grow continuously, and to give your best to each day you are given, knowing that those days are shaping the legacy you are leaving behind.